that when I'm on shoot, that's the easiest job for me because I'm doing something that I love. So when I'm acting, I'm actually having a ball of a time.
Yeah.
It's when I have to look after the house, I go mad. Birth of my child. Becoming a mother has enriched me so much as a human being, as a person. For my own sanity, I think it's best that I don't bring my characters home.
Yeah.
Men start to respect their wives in front of their children.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us on The Quint. You know, apart from the story, there was a few things that really stayed with me after the film. This distinction that I felt somewhere that does exist in our society today is about a woman being a natural nurturer and about a man being a breadwinner, right? Do you think like films still need to talk about, because it's such an important, you know,
Conversation.
Yeah, such important conversations.
The more we talk, the more it's going to create awareness. There will be some point at which people will try and understand our point of view as well. People can pretend to understand us, but at the end of the day, the reality, when the reality strikes in their own families, in their own relationships, it always becomes a different ballgame. I think everybody is brought up in a certain way, everybody is raised in a different way, and everybody behaves according to what they have been raised with and what beliefs they have been raised with. It's very important to change the mindsets of the next generation, you know, generation that we are raising as, you know, mothers. Because whether it's a boy's mum or it's a girl's mum, I think the beginning starts at home.
Absolutely.
Where we start chatting, where men start to respect their wives in front of their children. Because what men forget is that the more disrespect they give their spouses, it reflects on the children in such a way that the children grow up and do the same thing thinking it's okay to do so. And a lot of mothers should understand that. A lot of times they disregard it and they don't give it much importance because everybody wants harmony in the house. But what they don't realize is that in the long run, they're damaging the mindset of their own children. And I would request all women to give themselves a pat on their back for what they're doing day in and day out. And I would tell them that they should not consider themselves smaller in any form, especially the housewives, because they do a lot. Like when you go for work, like for me, I always tell my friends that when I'm on shoot, that's the easiest job for me because I'm doing something that I love. So when I'm acting, I'm actually having a ball of a time. It's when I have to look after the house, I go mad. Because that is where the real challenge lies.
I watched the film yesterday and I have to say, what a brilliant performance, and congratulations on all the love that you're receiving. You know, I'm a mother myself and I couldn't watch this film without sobbing through it. You're a mother and you've portrayed this such an intense and emotionally demanding character. You know, how challenging was it for you?
The story in itself was so challenging. To even think about a subject like this, or to think about a fact that a woman actually went through this pain for 2 years, separated from her children, and she relentlessly fights in Norway, back in India, and eventually the hope of I will get my children one day, and she gets her children. But I would have to say that as a mother, I could not put myself in her shoes. I can't even think of that situation. I don't think any mother can think of a situation like that. I had to play Devika. I had to channel her emotions, Sagarika's emotions. So I tried to do it with the numerous women and mothers that I know personally. Of course, my mother being at the helm of it because she is a Bengali woman, truly a Bengal tigress. So I had to channel my character through her. She has that Bengali twang, which is beautiful. And I tried very hard to try and emulate that in the film to make Devika look as authentic as she can be. I'm a Probashi Bengali, so to speak. I'm a Bengali living outside of West Bengal. The way I speak Hindi or the way I speak English, you wouldn't know that I'm a Bengali unless and until somebody told you that my name was Rani Mukerji. So for me to adapt and do Devika's character was a challenge because I wanted Devika to look authentic, like she's from West Bengal.
You know, Rani, we've already heard so much about this case. We've been reading things about it in the news, but the film definitely delves a little deeper into it. So while y'all were telling the story, did you all take any creative liberties while doing that?
It obviously wouldn't be exactly the way it would have been. Of course, the facts are very, very accurate, but those creative liberties you have to take because you're making a film out of the actual story, but not to the extent of distorting facts.
You read that, of course, you did not meet Sagarika before the interview with Karan. Was that a conscious decision on your behalf?
Yes, it was. Actually, this film came to me early 2021 in January.
Okay.
And we were in the midst of the pandemic. And there was a lot of fear amongst all of us. So we were in a very precarious
Yeah.
situation at that time. And that's when this film came to me. When the chatter started about, do I need to meet Sagarika? Do I need to understand how I need to make Devika's character come alive? It was practically impossible to get Sagarika to Bombay to like see me because it was during COVID time, so it was difficult. I just one fine day decided that why am I wanting to meet the person, because through Ashima, my director, I was already getting to understand what Sagarika has been through. It is there in the script, it is there in the story.
Yeah.
It is an emotion of pain, it is an emotion of, I think, helplessness. It's an emotion of just unconditional love, which is something that I kind of related with it because I was a mom myself. What I needed to understand from Sagarika is what kept her going in spite of all the odds against her. So what I did is, I knew that Sagarika would be intimidated if she would have spoken to me, because I didn't want her to give me any extra information that I wasn't required to know.
Right.
So I kind of stayed away from that. I told Ashima to make me go through the Zoom recordings that she's done with Sagarika. So I kind of understood what she was saying, what she was talking about, what her headspace was.
Yeah.
And I kind of got that gist. And then when it came to make Devika's character alive, I thought the only way I can make her look authentic is if I can make her like my mom. Because she's somebody who I grew up with. She's somebody who has fed me with her hands. She's somebody who has mothered me. She's a person who has raised me. So there couldn't be any better role model for me than my own mom.
Right.
So that's how I took inspiration from my mom, the way she talks, the way she speaks. Even today, after being in Maharashtra, Bombay for 50 years, interacting with my father who spoke impeccable English and Hindi, being from UP, he spoke great Hindi, he spoke great English, but my mom never really changed the way she spoke ever.
Right.
She's still so connected to her roots, and I love that about my mom.
Rani, when you play roles about real life women, do you find it difficult to disconnect at the end of the day?
I think as an individual, I'm the kind of person who treats my job like a job. For my own sanity, I think it's best that I don't bring my characters home.
Yeah.
Our children are much more perceptive of our emotions than even we are. Like if you go on a day when you're tired from work, I'm sure your child will come and give you a hug, or, children know when their mothers are in a space that there's a kind of a guard that you don't want anybody to break, So I didn't want that with Adira because I was shooting in Estonia. I had already brought her from her comfort zone, which is home, and I had taken her away, and she was doing homeschooling at 6 in the morning because of the time difference in Europe and Bombay. When I came home, I just wanted to be the mom that she expected me to be.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bring back any baggage or any such thought or pain that would affect her in any way. She was also without her father for so long because her father could not accompany us for my shoot. So it was a difficult period for all of us because of COVID.
Last question.
Yeah.
You've been a part of the industry for over 2 decades now, I think 25 years and counting. As you sit here today, and if you had to think about some of the highlights that come to your mind in the last 25 years, could you give us some?
The biggest highlight has to be the birth of my child.
Yeah.
Becoming a mother has enriched me so much as a human being, as a person. My film Black, which actually taught me how to be grateful for everything that we have and not complain about the petty things that goes around us. My first film, of course, Raje Ki Aayegi Baarat. Had that film not happened, I don't think I would be sitting here with you today. So yeah, these are the milestones of my career and my life. All my films, I would not like to pinpoint just 2 or 3. But every film that I have done, whether they have been successful or not successful at the box office, they have taught me something through my journey. Every failure has taught me how to get myself up and go out there again and work harder. Every performance of mine that has not been liked has made me work even harder to make sure that this time around I would like to win their hearts as well, people who didn't like me. Every relationship that has worked in my case or has failed in my case has taught me something in the bargain.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a very enriching 25 years for me.
And here's to many more, right?
Thank you.
Thank you so much for talking to me, and good luck for the film. Thank
Thanks.
you.